Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Raise your hand if you just came straight from the blackjack table. All right, everyone's a liar. Raise your hand if you got more than 2 hours of sleep last night. You're all liars. I live here, but I don't come down to the strip anymore. You learn these things, can't you tell? Anyways, well, it's my privilege. I'm John Cheplack of The Real Recruiter. And it is my privilege to facilitate this broker re-engage session that's focused around social media. And there was a quote that I read, Eric Qualman, you don't have a choice on whether or not you'll use social media. The only choice that you have is whether or not you'll be good at it. That's it. And the other quote that he made behind that was, and it was based on a question that someone asked him, what will the ROI be, the return on investment be, by focusing on social media? Does anyone know what the return of investment will be in 5 years? Curious. You'll still be in business. Rather profound. So we've got two sessions. We've got a first session. We'll go through 10 minutes each speaker, each panelist, and then you guys will have an opportunity for some Q&A. We'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back for the second session. And in our first session, who we have is Bill Lublin of Century 21 Advantage Gold. He's going to charge it forward for us. And then we've also got Tassia Bezdeka of Century 21 Award. And so what I'd like to do is have each and every one of you engage. You know that old adage of, no question's a stupid question. We want all the questions brought out there, because here's what takes place is the person that asks the question, it's typically a question that everyone else wouldn't ask. Sound good? Okay. So next we've got Tassia. Tassia's the Director of Social Marketing for Century 21 Award in Southern California, oversees the online activity of 14 offices, several departments, and 1,400 agents. She has 6 middle names, the first of which is Fortune. So we don't want to talk to Tassia, we want to talk to her father about that. Just kidding. Tassia, take it away.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you very much. So I don't really have too much to add on to that. I know Bill had a nice little spiel, but I'll just kind of jump right into it. Some of the things I noticed that we're going to talk about have a little bit of overlapping, but some of my stuff gets a little bit more nuts and boltsy with you guys. So my topic is getting social from scratch. For those of you who are just starting out, for those of you who kind of have something happening, but you'd really like to do more with it, you haven't really done a lot, this is where I'm really talking to you. So the first thing that you need to consider is who can take this on for you. And you have 3 options, basically. You can, number one, outsource. That could be an independent contractor or a social media consulting company. You could add it to an existing position within your company. It could be a tech-savvy employee or attach it to the marketing department. Or you could create a completely new position. Helpful to have a real estate background. I was a real estate assistant for 6 years, but it's not necessary. And then just one thing to think about is there is the possibility of having a marketing intern. Has anyone here ever had an intern in their offices? Right? Intern equals free labor, right? Hopefully in exchange for you're going to teach them something. But so like I said, there's an expectation of them learning, not just doing. And things that you need to consider with that would be insurance, possibly providing a stipend or a meal credit, college credit. Just make sure, again, this is something you'd want to run by your attorney to make sure you're doing everything by the book. Now, there are pros and cons to each of these approaches. If you're going to outsource, obviously it's less stress. There's nothing new for you to learn. However, you need to find someone who can immediately take on the voice of your brand, the voice of your company, or the voice of you, depending on the actual purpose of this page or entity that you're setting up. Obviously, it's going to be a financial output, and at least in the beginning, it's going to be more monitoring on your end to make sure that the things that are being said are consistent with the things you want said about your company. If you're adding to an existing position, there's no worry about that. They're already a part of your company. They're already a part of your culture. There's nothing new that they need to learn. And there's little to no additional output in terms of financials, right? Obviously, you might want to compensate them a little bit, but you don't need to add a whole other salary onto your payroll. However, the cons, number one, it's going to be the learning curve. Even if they're tech savvy, some of these things do have a learning curve to them. And then you definitely run the risk of stretching someone too thin. They're doing too many things, they're going to lose sight of what the priority should be, and it's really not a sustainable thing to have. But in terms of getting something started, that's a good option. And then creating a completely new position, you're going to have a dedicated staff person, no major learning curve, because the expectation is they're going to come to the table knowing what they need to know about social media and how to use it. However, there's going to be a little bit of the getting to know you time. They're going to need to learn the voice of your brand, and obviously the financial output. So who to hire? First and foremost, above anything else, they need to have good judgment and trustworthy. Does anyone remember this Kenneth Cole tweet about Egypt? Here's another one for you. How about Alexandra Wallace? Does that name ring a bell to anybody? Even if you think your brand is relatively unknown, or the person, even thinking on a personal scale, you are relatively unknown. I'm sure Alexandra Wallace was relatively unknown, thought she was relatively unknown. She was the one that did the Asians in the Library rant on YouTube. Huffington Post is talking about her, CNN's talking about her, all the local news outlets are talking about her, and now she's dropped out of school. So first and foremost, there needs to be good judgment and trustworthiness with the person that you choose. They should be tech savvy, obviously. They should be familiar with the different social platforms. They should have a strong sense of focus. How easy is it to get really caught up with not doing what you're supposed to be doing on social networking? You go look at pictures, you go get sidetracked looking up old boyfriends or whatever, and it just goes haywire, right? And they need to strive for increased efficiency, because there are always better ways of doing something, whether it's Postgres or Hootsuite or scheduling or etc. There are always better ways to do it. Bonus qualities, things that you don't necessarily need to have at the output, but obviously are great. An eye for marketing strategy, a desire to create, and finger on the pulse of technology. Now, I say that you don't necessarily need to have that at the start. Obviously, it's a plus. However, if you just need someone to start thinking about what to post and getting some content out there, those are all things that are just bonuses. And consider the recent graduate. I was hired a couple months out of college. It's not what I went to school for, but I did do a lot of marketing in school. Recent graduates are starving. A lot of us come with student loans, and we would love to work with you. And then, of course, you have to think about compensation. Now, if you look at these numbers here, these were polled about a month ago from a lot of popular different salary sites. There's a huge difference in what people are getting paid. So my recommendation for you is to consider the job on par with the department head and pay them accordingly. You also might consider offering incentives if deals are closed directly from their actions, recruiting incentives, etc., things to give them a little bit of an extra bonus. Now, in terms of strategy, the first thing that you should do is define your audience. And you have several audiences. You've got your clients, your agents, outside agents, potential agents. All of them deserve a different focus and different information. Each one should have a separate account or page if it's warranted. For example, for Century 21 Award, we have our award brokerage page. We have our award commercial page. We have our property management page. We have career development. We have social marketing, which I put out specifically for agents. And then we've got our marketing graphic design, as well as all the individual offices. Century 21 has 21 LLC, Century 21 Learning, the page for International Convention. All of them have separate purposes, and it would be really a mishmash if everything was posted from one outlet. So then you need to determine, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to increase your brand awareness? Are you trying to bring more money into your company? Are you trying to foster more community and culture within the people that you already have? Are you trying to educate and inform either your clients, your agents, outside agents, etc., or are you wanting to recruit? And recruiting can really be as simple as taking pictures of your agents together at a sales meeting, or videotaping your sales meeting, or just showcasing your environment and your services and what you have to offer as a company to potential agents. Now, broad versus specific. Century 21 Award spans from LA County all the way down to the border. And I don't know if anybody else here has a company that spans that broad, but we need to think broad versus specific geographically. So currently, we have 14 different Facebook pages, one for each individual office. And that's still a work in progress. I don't see any of my managers in here, but I think they'll tell you they're primarily responsible for coming up with local content for their offices. A lot of the times that doesn't happen, and because I'm not from LA County, or I'm not from near the border, I'm only from one specific area, it's really difficult for me as a person to know what to post, what's relevant for those areas. So that's something that we're still grappling with. But then the flip side of that is, again, if we're serving all of Southern California, if I find something really great that's only specifically for San Diego, is that going to be a detriment to the people that we're connecting with who are not from that area? Something to think about. So, creating versus curating. Are you the gardener or are you the harvester? If you're going to create, obviously the voice is going to be consistent. It's going to be all you all the time. The branding is going to be custom to you. It's not going to have other people's logos on it, and you become the expert. However, creating is quite a bit of work, right? It takes time to think about your topics. It takes time to take pictures, create a video, actually write something. But it's a very valuable tool, both for yourself as a brokerage and for your agents individually, because it really showcases yourself, your company, your agent as the expert. If you're going to be curating means you're basically DJing other people's content, to use Tom Ferry's analogy. The material is readily available. You add your own 2 cents to it to make it your own, and I'm sure Bill will go on in much further detail if you contact him about the legal aspects of that. So under cons, potential liability, definitely, obviously you need to give credit where credit's due, no just copying and pasting, and it's going to be branded elsewhere. I'm a big fan of curating a lot of the social media articles that I come up with for my agents. So when they click on a link, they're going to Mashable's website, or Nicole Nicolai's website, or a different website other than mine. So I am not necessarily seen as the expert, but I'm seen as someone who has a lot of different resources to help people get to the information that they need. Now I'm going to give you another 4-step strategy that I'll fight you for in terms of whose is better.
Yours is better.
Thank you.
You're a smart man.
Yeah.
And mine is the 4-step posting strategy. Okay? 4 steps, they're very easy. The first one is you need to determine your topics. What do you want to talk about? Is it your community? Is it real estate? Is it yachting? Is it baking? Is it whatever's happening? You need to come up with a list of topics and write them down. By the way, this is universally applicable, so your agents can use this for their own work as well. The next thing is to determine your resources. Who are the people who are already talking about it? Bookmark them. The best place to go to find places for resources is Google. Go to Google, type in, for example, I love to cook, so I look up cooking blog or recipes blog, whatever you want with the word blog. Why blog? Blogs are generally continually updated with fresh information. It's not going to be a stagnant website and somewhere that you can return to again and again to find fresh information and content. The next thing you want to do is schedule your updates. When I update something for my 14 pages, I'm not usually sitting there at the computer doing 14 all at once. I've taken some time on a Monday or a Sunday or some afternoon, and I've gone to my resources and I've found stories that I like, and I've put them into a system such as Hootsuite or the Roost app through Facebook or Deliverit or TweetDeck, etc. And I've decided, okay, this article is going to go out on Monday morning, this one Monday afternoon, this one Tuesday morning, this one Tuesday afternoon. So I don't have to spend so much of my time thinking, oh, you know what, it's Tuesday, I haven't posted anything. Now I have to take a half hour out of my day to go look through my resources and find things. And then the last thing you want to do is be spontaneous and jump in. Use your smartphone smartly. Who does not have a smartphone? Probably embarrassed to raise your hand. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smartphone here, and I'm going to turn on my camera, and I'm going to take a picture of Hector. There we go. And I'm going to hit this share button, and I'm going to share it through mail. And I'm going to send it to my Facebook page for Century 21 Award. Send. It's on its way, it's posted. How easy is that? Okay? So use your smartphone smartly. Now that not only means taking pictures and video and posting them immediately, that also means taking the time that you don't think you have but you do, and going through things like Facebook and checking up on your agents and checking up on your clients, etc. This could be on hold with a bank. This could be on hold for a conference call. This could be watching commercials at home if you're not using TiVo. This could be in line at the grocery store. There are so many times that you and your agents don't realize that, yeah, you've got an extra couple minutes, and it really doesn't take that long to scroll through your feed and see what's happening. So, if you build it, they might not see it. Just because you made something, and even if you made something great, it doesn't do you any good until people come to it and engage with it. So you need to add prominent links to your website. For Century 21 Award, we've got an automatic blog RSS feed. When we update the blog, we have something called the Hello Bar. Hello Bar is free and insanely easy to add to any website. And then you can attach it to whatever RSS feed you want. So I create a blog. Within 5 minutes, the RSS feed on the main page of our website is updated. Also, we've got social icons on the top portion of our website. Right? Obviously, if somebody recognizes Facebook, they can click on it, go directly to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube page, blog, etc. You also should consider updating your marketing materials and encouraging your agents to do the same. We create something at Century 21 Award called the Open House Directory Blast. Basically, our agents tell us about the open houses they're having over the weekend. I organize them, send them out to marketing. Marketing makes me a print material, a Craigslist material, etc. And then at the bottom of it, we've got links that go to our Facebook and our Twitter. So anyone who sees this on Craigslist or anyone who sees it at an open house knows, oh, facebook.com/Century21 Award. That's where I go to find this particular company in the social media space. And then you need to spread word via your agents, your affiliates, your connections. Start with the people that you know. They're going to be, number one, the most forgiving if your content is not necessarily that great. Start with belly-to-belly conversations. Hey, you're a potential recruit. Did you know we have a Facebook page where we post all of our sales meeting notes and pictures of our agents and our parties, etc.? Comment, retweet, and share on social sites. Now, Facebook Pages has just gone through a major upgrade that makes this very, very easy and very powerful to do as a page commenting on another page. So if the Social Media Marketing Institute posts a really great post, I can go on there as Century 21 Award, not as Tassia, and say, wow, this is such useful information. I have a question, blah, 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 blah. And now we're making business-to-business connections. Share on social sites and consider an agent incentive or competition to get either more activity happening on your pages or garner more people to generate more activity. Droid. And then the last thing you should consider doing is creating a front desk flyer. This flyer is on the front desk of every Century 21 Award, all 14 of them. And it says on there, here's our Facebook, here's our Twitter, our LinkedIn, get our app, find us on Foursquare and Yelp. And then we've got this lovely QR code. The front desk person or whoever's at the front desk needs to engage people when they come in. Again, a static piece of paper doesn't necessarily bring a whole lot of incentive to engage with it. However, someone waiting at the front desk and the front desk receptionist saying, oh, did you know we're on Facebook, or do you have a QR scanner, etc., creates an immediate interaction. My QR code, this one here, I don't know if anybody's going to scan it, goes through a website called likeify.net. What that does is it takes you to a page that you put your logo on and a little like button, and all they do is click the like button on their phone, and assuming that their phone is logged into Facebook, they now like your website. No extra work involved. However, if no one knows how to use this and can't explain it, useless. So someone needs to understand how this technology works. My final thought for you all is that it's far better to have fallen forward than to have never taken a first step. It's reality. It's coming. It's already here. If you are already far behind it, you need to catch up because you're only going to put more of a distance between yourself and where your clients, potential agents, etc., are already communicating with each other. If you find something's not working, let it go. I could show you a laundry list of different things that we put into play in the year and a half that I've been at Century 21 Award that just weren't working for us. We weren't seeing results. They were too much work, and we're not doing them anymore. And be open to change and adaptive. All of these things are changing. Facebook won't be the #1 site forever. Something else will come up, just like Facebook knocked MySpace off its throne. If you guys have any questions for me, you're more than welcome to connect. This website will be ready for launch hopefully April 1st. It's going to have basically a lot more information about some of the things we talked about, a lot of websites, resources, etc. And these are where you can find me online. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope that was useful.
Thanks so much, Tassia. I've got just I get the privilege of working with brokers, owners, presidents, CEOs on a day-to-day functionality of their organization, and what I say is also the dysfunctionality. I mean, my company's dysfunctional. That's the reality of the world that we live in. But we've got people in the room, I'm guessing, that are the janitor, the top producer, the accountant. They do it all. And then we have people in the room that are part of an organization similar to your size and scope. The question that I want to ask, and for each and every one of you, regardless of where you're at, is to grasp this, because we can get great information as leaders, but what are you going to do with it? it's another silo, another thing that I've got to bring forward. So my question to you, and again, understanding where she's at in current space and time over a large organization that has the resource to have a person in your specific position, what does your day look like as you're driving social media forward in your organization? I won't tell you about mine. I'm curious about yours.
So I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I'm also an office manager at one of our branches.
Perfect.
And in the interim of having some personnel changes, I'm also handling the majority of our paperless filing system and our actual website. So my day is very hectic. Thank you. I appreciate that. My day is very hectic. It's a lot of, I was talking earlier about being spread too thin if you apply this to someone who's already existent. I am constantly fighting with, okay, do I handle the issues for the office that I'm managing? Do I handle the emails that are coming in for people who are having trouble with the website? Or do I post something on Facebook? So for me personally, it's a constant struggle. There's a lot of late nights, so I would really encourage you guys to find the resources within your company to hire someone specifically for this position. Before all of that happened, my day primarily consisted in handling agent queries and determining ways to get ahead of my agents, be that video tutorials or blog tutorials or updating. A lot of what I do on the Facebook page, C21 Social Marketing, which is specifically for agents, is find things for them to share with their sphere. It's very clearly marked with share this with your sphere, 8 exclamation points, and then something for them to just copy and paste, something that I went out and procured that's going to be useful for them and for their clients to make their life easy. So my primary job is getting ahead of my agents.
Awesome, great. Well, and one of the things that I heard her say, and it's rather critical, obviously, she's got some different roles in the organization, but as a leader is sacrifice the immediate for the long term. And that's that triage process as a leader. And what we can easily do is go to that quick instant gratification exercise, cardiopulmonary resuscitation on a transaction, thinking we're going to bring it back to life, versus something over long term that's going to create a result. So what I'd like to do is we have about, were they great? I'm impressed. I'm so fortunate, to sit up here and listen as the student. I get to go out and speak, but I love being a student. You guys are awesome. Great stuff. I goof around on Facebook, and you guys get it out there. So what I'd like to do is we've got about 5 minutes to open up to any questions that you might have. The microphone is right there. Don't be shy. Please step up to the microphone and ask our two panelists any questions that you guys might have.
I have a question for Bill. At the NAR convention in New Orleans,
Yes.
They had, at one of the booths, NAR booths, they had the ability to sign up for ePro online.
Yes.
And I signed up, haven't heard anything.
The second day, we've done the first day. The first day is live. There is also a 2-day online. They're hopefully going to be done with it by April. We shot video in December in Chicago. They've got all the material. They're just tuning up some of the last stuff.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
We saw a hand up front.
There's a million.
Google.
Of them. Yeah, there's a million of them. But before you do that, you really need to have a policy in place. I understand that,
Can you restate the question for us?
Yeah, I'm sorry, for those of you in the cheap seats. The question was, are there webinars where you can go to, help agents set up on Twitter or on Facebook, set up their accounts? Setting up accounts and stuff is really, really easy. Having an idea of what they're going to do with them once they get there, you have to understand how permanent this stuff is, and I don't want you to get paralyzed, by it. But the only thing that Tassia said that I sort of disagree with is the intern, unless you're really, really going to supervise them, because they may not have the social or communicative skills that you want, even though they really have great technology skills. So unless you would trust that person to write all of your print ads, then you shouldn't turn them loose to write pretty permanent electronic stuff without some guidelines. Not that they're not articulate or that they're bad people, but it took you like a little while to get your business started. It took you a little while to decide what the flavor of the business was going to be. You've built some kind of culture, either consciously or unconsciously. I wouldn't turn that over to any individual, regardless of age, without making sure that their values mirrored yours to minimize the potential of going back and forth. That having been said, I agree having somebody as an intern could be an awesome, inexpensive way to get some additional help in doing this, where you can say, so-and-so, I want to put a video up there, I'm not sure how to do it, and they can show you because they're used to doing it.
Let me share with you, too, because I see some people leaving, and I don't know if I announced it. We do have a second panel
we saved all the good
in
stuff
about
for the people that
15
stay.
minutes after this one.
Hi, Jim.
It's going to be on recruiting. So just so you guys are aware, recruiting and social media. So apologize. Please.
I think this is a two-part question. Hiring someone for this position first, how much time per week should this take? Should we dedicate a person to keeping a large company up to date in all these different places?
Well, again, it's going to depend entirely on what their purpose is. When I came to the company in October 2009, I was hired full-time, and our expectation was that I was going to first train our agents and talk to our agents about best practices, the actual nuts and bolts of using these different sites, etc. So a big part of my job was traveling to all 14 offices to have in-house trainings, in addition to the web trainings and the written tutorials and all that. And that really is a full-time job.
So if you're not traveling, you're just keeping up with company news and what's going on in the organization on these different sites. Is that a 2-hour, 10-hour, 30-hour? And not playing games while you're doing it. My frustration.
Yeah, who would go on Facebook and play after all?
My frustration is an owner hiring someone for this job.
So you're hiring them just to post content for your company?
I don't know what right now
Well,
they're marketing.
Well, see that not to interrupt, but that it would sort of you'd sort of have to first figure out what the job description is, because as Tassia pointed out, they were really lucky. They had a really smart person in another position that could just sort of blow up into the job. But my experience in hiring people is not that good. I would if I could figure out a way to get her out of San Diego to Philadelphia, I'd be trying to do it right now. But I think and I could hook you up with a job in Texas. I'm pretty sure. But my suggestion would be, if you start out figuring what your goals are, and it goes back to what both of us said, first figure out who you're trying to reach, what is it you're trying to do when you get them, and then worry about the strategy. Because really our first impulse as brokers, if we have the money, is to go hire somebody and set it and forget it. And you can't do it. It's unfair. You're setting that person up to fail, I think.
Let me jump in, you guys, too. I need to go to the next question, though, here, too. If we could take that offline. I want to keep it moving. Sure.
My slides are available, yeah.
Rick, let her rip.
Tasha, a question for you. I see a great idea with being a manager and doing all of this stuff that you're doing for social media in your office. I still think there's going to be a possibility in the not-too-distant future that customers are going to start replying to that section of social media that you're putting out there. How do you link them to either like lead router or anything like that, where you have somebody else capturing those leads and taking them somewhere else, or are you developing that yet?
We haven't on our sites received any leads like that. My agents definitely have, but I haven't yet gotten anything to our actual office sites. Anything that would, again, hiring someone that's going to be trustworthy. Don't hire a licensed agent, because they're going to gobble that lead up for themselves. If I ever received that, it would obviously go to our realtor or referral department.
And you can set lead router up because it's an email CC.
But through to tied in with Facebook?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hi. I thought that your form for the open houses was ingenious, because even within our own office, it's hard to know where everybody's going to be at. And then also that front desk flyer. If I give you my card, would you mind sending me those, emailing those two forms to
They're
me?
totally custom designed. I could send them to you so you see what they look like. But that's the other thing, is I do graphic design, so they really lucked out.
Can I have my card, and if you could send those to me just to kind of cheat off them?
They're going to be on the slideshow. You can actually get them from the slideshow and just take a shot of them. You'll be able to download them.
Slideshow.
It'll be available on the c21socialmarketing.com.
Great.
It'd probably be around April 1st.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. One more question.
Obviously, social media is online marketing. Whatever we're doing there is we're marketing one way or the other. You mentioned something about newsletters for agents, and then there's also offline marketing. How would you suggest, be it newsletters, other things, how would you suggest tying everything in with print, offline, online, etc.? For a company where to get...
You can take it. I mean,
in terms of, say, a digital newsletter, give a tease of your article and have the full article hosted on your blog. And your blog has icons linking to your social media. In terms of the print media, adding the icons and the URLs, it's really just about awareness. And that's been really, I'm going to say for my company, we've really only been focusing on the company brand versus the agents for maybe the past 2 or 3 months. And that's really been something that I've been kind of struggling with, again, being a one-man show, is really building that awareness. And it really comes down to just putting it out in front of people's eyes so they see it.
But the simple thought, Dave, is like, remember when we started with business cards putting websites on them? It's the same thing. Just everywhere you go, put every way to contact you, every other place.
Great. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please give them a hand. They're wonderful.
And the amazing John Cheplack, our moderator, please.
So we'll take about a